Folks, just as Jeremy's about to rage quit, the rest of us are ready to begin. We are live. I'm your host, DashV, and this is Retro Reload. I also have the aforementioned Jeremy, the Red Bearded Gamer, with us today.
Did it take you all day to download the Battlefield update? Because it did me.
I just don't play Battlefield. That's my secret. So we also have the ever-sexy Kyle.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, man, listen to that smooth, sexy,
bearded
voice.
$20.
Brought the guns in today.
You got to pay $20 to do this from a fan.
So I'm digging the new microphone, Kyle. It's working out really well.
Thank you.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we got the silky smooth voice of Miss Hedgehog. Hello, Lizzie.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, wow. That was all seductive and stuff. We're going to have to end the show early.
I turned my fan on.
So, how's everybody doing today? We got an interesting lineup.
Oh, I'm doing really good.
Yes. So Tyler is not with us today. I think he is too busy involved in his Switch, or maybe people are watching him in the bedroom. I don't know.
Let's be honest. He's playing Zelda right now.
I think
we know you're playing Zelda.
I think he's playing Zelda. So,
Tyler.
do we want to start out with our pickups this week?
Pickups.
Yeah. Sure.
Start.
All right.
Next.
You got me for a second there. It's like, oh, Jeremy, that's great. What are your pickups? Nothing.
Nothing.
All right, Kyle, any pickups?
Yeah, so I have at least one more thing than Jeremy. Okay, I went. Well, when you don't bring anything to the show, Jeremy. Okay. Gosh. All right.
Remember, show and tell.
Okay. Anyways, so what I picked up this week, since I'm a responsible show member who doesn't forget to, I got in contact over on the VG Collect forums, which you can use to buy, sell, and trade all of your greatest and latest and oldie games. Got in touch with Kashi, and he sent me the 3DS Corpse Party box, and also included the little figures there and the soundtrack. No game, but I got it for a good price, so I can always pick the game up later. And actually, shout out to Cashel as well for the extra CDs. He sent me a few soundtracks that I didn't expect, so that was very generous of him. Thank you for that so much.
And where can you find Cash at?
Where can you find Cash? Oh, yeah. Yes, the OPB, Our Parents' Basement, the broadcast. Make sure you guys check them out. It's really good. And then I picked up a couple other things. I got Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. My friend is a really big fan of Kirby, and so I thought I would go ahead and give a game a try. I have played like one or two other ones, but not a whole lot of one of them. It's okay, but I just really like the Kirby games where he actually gets like the powers when he sucks the things in. It's just kind of weird playing a Kirby game without it, because it just makes the game so good. But I got that, and then I picked up at Party City. They have these little stuffed. Yeah, they have these little stuffed guys. She's kind of got a derp face going on.
She's got like an O face on there.
I think she does.
The eyes are like huge.
Chris!
Oh my gosh!
Oh, Chris! Ah!
See me!
But these were on sale for like $3, so I got one of these, and I actually got one as a gift for someone else. We'll see who I send it to. But and
nice.
I got Chris a couple of gifts, since he's gonna send me that DVD drive for free. But I don't know. Should I show them to you, Chris?
Oh my goodness!
Everyone see them?
I guess it's up to you.
I'll make him wait. Make him unbox it on the next show. No, make him unbox it.
Tease him.
Don't do it.
Okay, I'll show you one. This is the good one, because I'm really bad at keeping surprises. So I was looking in the game store, and Chris, I know you like those CDI, what's that one called? Really popular, the Night Trap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like those. So I was looking, and I found one called Double Switch, and it's got like, I don't know, like an Egyptian sort of thing going on, and I don't know if it's any good.
Yes.
So don't buy it. It's going to be coming to you eventually, since you got me that stuff. And I got a couple other just super small, not really game goodies, but those will be there for you too. So
Interesting.
So you'll have to let us know if it's good, because if it's good, I want to play it because I like the Egyptian-y stuff. So
we'll do a playthrough on the one of the offline filler shows.
Sounds good.
Cool.
So,
It's not the anime show now.
all right. So Lizzie, what did you pick up this week?
Well, I'm actually really happy. I picked up Knight's Journey of Dreams.
Ooh.
So there's Sega title, and I'm really happy because it's all complete. That's my main concern, is it has to be complete, because if it's missing something, I get really aggravated. And I'm very happy because I got Gamer Block. This replaces the arcade block from Nerd Block.
Okay.
It's now called Gamer Block. They have two of them. They have content which are rated E for everyone, and then they have M for mature. So depending which one you get, each month is gonna be, different, because they do, different games every month.
Gotcha.
This month.
So how's it work then, Lizzie? Is it like the E for everyone, you get like Mario and Sonic goodies, and the M for mature one, you get like Loverboy and Rez
Call of Duty
goodies?
and yes. And every month is different. So it's gonna be different games every month. This month it was Mario, Link, and some others.
Okay.
And I want to share it. I don't know what this is, but it's like a little gun.
Ooh.
Hold a gun.
Oh, the golden gun,
Yeah,
yeah. 007.
Yeah, it's a little gun. This is the booklet. They also give you a code for an indie game, which you can get on stream. I have no real interest. It's the game is called what's this game called?
Epistory.
Epistory.
Yeah, so if one of y'all wants this code, just let me know, or I can give it to one of our viewers. Because I'm probably not gonna play it. I mean, honestly, I'm.
Do you want a first viewer to ask for it in the live chat gets it? You want to do that?
Well, if they have stream.
But in order to get the code, they have to name her favorite Sonic character.
Oh my.
Yes.
Come on.
Bad Chaos. I see in chat when you're gonna do the show with us.
Kissy face.
Tacos away.
The next thing I got is, now this is awesome, man. This is a Legend of Zelda bag. Awesome. Like you have to unzip it and it turns into this huge bag. But check it out, man.
Oh, wow.
It's a gold cartridge.
Ooh.
That's pretty neat.
Want that one, I'll take it.
No, I don't know yet. Well, the thing is, they're sending me another box, so I guess you can have it. But let me make sure my friend doesn't fight with me for it. I also got 3D Super Mario coasters.
Oh, nice.
Yes, this is what they look like on the back, like a whole bunch of different designs. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I wanted it because I had a feeling, because it was Link and Mario, I had a feeling someone was going to appear in the box, because if I didn't get it, I was going to cry. And I was right. He was in the box. This month is a Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I had to have it. And since I have another box coming, I'm keeping both shirts.
The Green Hill running team. Nice.
Yes. So this sold it for me. I was like, I got two coming. So I got another box coming. So I can give away everything else. I'm keeping the shirt. So if anybody wants a shirt, that's too bad. Shirts are mine.
Excellent.
So that's what came.
All right. So I got well, Walmart messed up my pre-order. They let me pre-order it, and then they canceled my pre-order a week after it was supposed to arrive for Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I ended up getting it off of somebody on eBay, and holy crap, I did not realize how big this friggin' thing is.
Oh wow.
It is gymongous. So we can go ahead and unbox it here.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I haven't played the game yet, but in terms of what it comes with, so it comes with a bunch of broken pieces in the box, I guess. But no, it's got a carrying case for the Switch itself. So looks like yay. and then you can open it up.
That's fancy.
And you can take your Nintendo Switch and you can put it in there. And it's got a nice little Velcro thing to like hold it and everything. And then it's got a space for, you know, some games. This is kind of neat. You can fit all the different games in the
Slots.
little slots
Nice.
there. And then there you go. And it's got a handle. You can look all dapper. So I don't know what dapper means. I just wanted to try to use it in a sentence. So what else we got in there? It comes with a poster. So
It's like a map.
yeah. Also comes with a Breath of the Wild soundtrack. So I don't think it's the complete one. It says sound selection. So I'm assuming that it's just portions of it. If the Zelda theme's not on there, I'll be a little bit miffed.
Yeah, play it on the way to work every day.
I know, right? I have the Kirby soundtrack actually in there, and I'll tell you, there's nothing more funny than you're taking some folks to lunch, right? And you're all there in the car, and no sooner does Soundgarden like Spoon Man or something like that finish, and then all of a sudden it goes from like Spoon Man or Black Hole Sun or Fell on Dark Days to and they're like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I guess you don't play Kirby? No?
Out the car.
Get out of this car right now. Don't make me have to pull this car over. But it came with this gold coin as well,
I like it.
which is kind of neat. So it's got that design on the back. So, and then obviously it also comes with a copy of the game, which is, it's interesting just how blatant a waste of plastic this is. So I don't even know why they bother with cases this big and elaborate anymore.
I like it though, like that.
Well, you open it up, they still have something as if like maybe someday if manuals make a comeback, we'll be able to hold it with the and then the game is actually in my Switch, but the game is that big, right?
I like it that big though. I don't want little small boxes.
So, but
I know.
I think
agree.
Nintendo DS size would be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really needs to be.
No.
Are you gonna lick the cartridge? That's what we're all waiting.
Taste it?
I heard the cartridge is kind of wait, you guys want me to you want me to lick the cartridge?
I heard things happen when you lick it.
Well,
he's asking swallow honey after the show. We're about stomach pumps.
all right, I guess folks, this is only on Retro Reload, right? I guess.
He done
Let me
licked it.
see.
#10.
I heard it tastes like bitter though.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
all right, so here's what it actually is, right? Seriously, you want me to like taste it?
Yes. Do it.
Like it.
Oh wow.
Is it bad?
Wow, yeah, it's vile. Holy crap.
Are you sure? I think you need to take a second taste to make sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. Wow, it tastes bad. It does. It seriously. Maybe the metal connectors taste better. Oh, that ain't right. No.
Yeah, they say they put a special compound on it so kids don't eat it.
No, I think it's which is pretty smart because I wasn't joking. It really does taste. It does taste very vile. It kind of it stings. It's weird to describe. But anyway, whether it was a dog or a cat or a kid, like nobody's gonna be sitting there sucking on this thing for like hours on end.
Except for adults.
Wow, that was pretty nasty. That's horrible.
What they spray it with?
And hopefully those chemicals don't like start. I'm gonna like grow boobs or something. I don't know. It's definitely a chemically taste. I have no idea what the hell I just actually ingested. So we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on the live stream. Maybe something magical happens.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Some Japanese guy rubs his butt against these little games.
Oh, come on. What the hell? Oh, man. Oh, that's awful. That's horrible.
Oh.
Take it to a sumo wrestling match.
All right.
If he did, he didn't wash the butt first.
That's
Lizzie
the whole
wins
point.
the show.
It-
We can go home now.
Yes, that tasted vile. So now that I can't get the oh, that's horrible. Why'd you have to say that, Lizzie? All right. Anyway, on to the next section of the show, which I don't even know. The chemicals are getting to my brain.
All right, next part is retro pick of the week.
All right,
Well,
Jeremy.
because it tastes out his mouth, we'll start with Lizzie.
Okay. My retro pick of the week is a Capcom title from back in the old days of the 80s. It is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the game that everybody loves.
Didn't you pick that one before?
No,
Are you sure?
no, I didn't. Yeah, I picked what was it?
I should go back and start documenting everybody's picks.
That's what I was
What?
thinking about earlier.
No, I made fun of what was that thing called? Minecraft, and then it was Kirby before that, and then it was something. Oh, and then before that it was Road Blasters.
No,
Okay.
Sonic.
Okay, you're right. You're correct. You're totally correct.
So I love Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers because you can play as Chip, you can play as Dale, and you're supposed to save Gadget, who got captured by Fat Cat.
Can you play as in?
What? No, it's not fair because you can't play as Monty. He just appears like for a quick
You
moment.
said you can play Chip and Dale, and I said, can you play as in Chip and Dale?
Well, you can play as Chip or Dale. I
What's-
wish you could play both. That'd be kind of cool.
What's the cartridge taste like?
Plastic.
Like nothing.
Everybody officially has to taste their pick of the week now.
I'm down for that.
So hopefully you washed it.
Bad Chaos said they put it through a sumo laundry. I was about to say the same thing.
All right, Jeremy, who do you want to have go next?
Okay, I guess the handsome one can go next.
Kyle, that must be you.
No, that's true.
I just said it. You guys decided on that.
Okay. Well, since we have to lick our pick of the week, I guess my pick of the week is Jeremy. Come here, big boy.
Wow.
I thought the others.
Just kidding. Okay. So since I picked it up this week, I guess my retro pick of the week will be the same Kirby Goes to Dreamland game.
It's like being lazy about it.
Shut up, Jeremy. Don't let them know. So I'll choose this as my pick of the week because I was actually able to play through the regular mode, but there is a harder mode when you get done. And I'm going to try to play through that this week because I like Kirby in that it's kind of easy, but I think that's not a bad thing. It's nice to have kind of an easy, more accessible game every once in a while. Like I said, I do also miss that he doesn't have the powers in this one. I'm just not used to playing a Kirby game where he doesn't have like super cool powers. But you know, it's like if you had a little kid or just like someone who likes to casually play and you wanted to introduce them to some old games, but kind of an easy way, this would be a really great intro. It's cheap, it's fun, and it's just a really short game, so it's very accessible. So if you're looking for an accessible game, there you go.
There's an Easter egg. There's an Easter egg for that game too. You can look it up online, folks. If you type in a code at the title screen, you can go to the sound test mode. And I remember I would just go to the sound test mode and just listen to the tunes forever. That they loop, but they're very, very catchy. Every single one of them.
So Kyle, what does it taste like?
Yeah, what's it taste like, Kyle?
Are you really gonna make me taste it?
Yeah, they
It
did it.
tastes mine.
Hey, I had to taste a sumo wrestler's behind.
I guess that's fair. Tastes like cotton candy, sugar, and a quality game. Delicious.
All right. Jeremy, you're next.
I made out this week because I don't have a copy of the game.
Well,
No.
you're gonna have to taste something else then.
Lick your hand.
Taste the TV.
Some random object. What's the Nintendo Entertainment System behind you taste like?
What's that thing?
This is how it works, Jeremy.
This is how it works,
You will
Jeremy.
taste it.
Yeah.
You want me to lick? Are you serious? You want to lick this thing?
That or
Taste
lick Lick the camera. Lick the camera.
Here. Okay. My pick is Crazy Taxi.
All right. For which system?
If I remember right, we used to play on the Dreamcast when I was in church.
All right. Why is that your pick of the week? Give us some details, my
Just
friend.
good memories back in church. Everybody sit around, watch each other play, share the game. There's more good memories. It was a fun game.
Nice.
Yeah, I sucked at it, but it was still fun.
So give us a little bit of a description. Like, what is what we're building up. Don't worry, you'll get to lick the controller. Don't worry about it. But give us a little bit more about the game. What do you do in the game?
In a convertible taxi, and you gotta get up there as fast as you can. So you cut through the parks, and you just drive crazy. The crazier, the better.
Nice.
You don't drive like a professional. You crash and everything. You go fast, and people jump out, say thanks. Then you go get the next guy.
Nice. All right. So now, what's that controller taste like?
God, I hope it's.
Oh,
Good.
that was a big lick. He's like, ah. Does it taste like sweaty teenage pom?
Some tastes like tobacco.
Let's try to keep this family friendly.
Oh man, we're all gonna get like Ebola or something.
Yeah. We're
gonna get sued by Nintendo because these aren't their games.
All right. Well. That's everybody's pick of the week. We can move on to the next.
What choice?
Oh, okay. Mine is actually an Xbox original game, but this also came out for GameCube and PlayStation 2. If you like Grand Theft Auto, the newer games, you would love this game. Simpsons Hit and Run. There's another game out that people commonly confuse for this game. What's the other game called? I don't remember. Jeremy's gonna look up what the other game is. You don't want the other game. The other game feels like a tech demo that was prepping them for creating this game. Only the graphics are horrible, the controls are horrible on the other game, and it's not any fun. But
the Simpsons Road Rage.
Simpsons Road Rage. Yeah, the name is way cooler, but the game is terrible. You want to get the real deal. Get Simpsons Hit and Run. It's like GTA only with the Simpsons. What's really great about the Xbox version, and this is why I recommend this one above. I know, Lizzie, but this is why I recommend this one above all the other versions. It plays in the highest resolution of all the other versions. It plays at the highest frame rate of all the other versions, and it is the only one that actually has Dolby 5.1 surround, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But if you play it on a system where you do have a 5.1 surround system, there is nothing more satisfying than running over pedestrians and having them fly over the hood of your car and into the great beyond. And you can hear them as they scream, "Ah!" And if you spin the car around, you can kind of hear them go, "Ah!" like all around. The environmental effects kind of matching their place geospatially. It just really gives you an immersive experience. The Simpsons voices are spot on. Tons of missions. Just when you think you're done with the game, there's another set of missions. And I could listen to Grandpa Simpson ramble on in the passenger seat of the car all day. So
What's it like?
So what's it taste like? I'm going to clean the disc because I'm gonna lick the disc because I know I've cleaned that. Doesn't taste like anything.
Well, you're supposed to
Handle,
that's
huh?
why.
So what's that?
You're supposed to lick the box.
No, I don't know where the hell this box has been. My goodness. But
That's why you like it.
Back when they gave you manuals, I licked that nasty ass Zelda cartridge twice. I think I get it out.
I still got the taste in my mouth.
Oh man, I still can taste that Zelda cartridge. It's horrible. But anyway, so that's our picks of the week. Does everybody have a time for Dash V's section here? Overrated. Do we have a overrated?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jeremy, why don't you go? And we don't have to taste these. Jeremy, give us your overrated.
Well, if you go back about 2-3 days ago, DashV was playing Last Night Zero. You can watch him play level 1 and 2. And he decided to call me out. So this week, my overrated game is the Blaster Master, the original one. Purely because he called me out on that show the other day. That's the only reason I did it.
We keep saying Jeremy's going to drop that diss track here soon.
I told Colin before the show I was going to do it.
All right, well, folks, since Jeremy doesn't have a serious overrated game, we're gonna go with what Kyle's pick is. What's that? What do you got, Kyle?
Okay, so I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm gonna regret picking this week because I'm not really ready to give a really good reason, like outlining them why I'm picking this. Okay, but get ready,
Okay.
get ready. Oh no, what's that?
Oh,
It's Pokemon. Oh no.
Take that,
All right,
Jeremy.
so to be fair, I really like the Shin Megami Tensei games, which are in a lot of ways very similar to Pokemon with the whole collecting aspect, the way they approach the story, and kind of I guess you could say the maturity of the story is different, even though Pokemon does have like this hidden dark side and like adult theme to a lot of things. But for whatever reason, the combat system never clicked with me when it came to Pokemon. I picked up Sun because I really wanted to give it another try, and I'm kind of doing that right now. But I don't know. It just doesn't click. Now, I did play the card game, and I really actually like how the card game's battle system feels compared to the video game. One of the problems being, if your Pokemon gets knocked out, that you can switch it out. And I don't know if it's like this in like competitive with the video game, but that your opponent can choose who they're going to bring in, and then they kind of maybe get to attack first, which I feel like is maybe a little unbalanced. And just the whole team composition thing doesn't work for that same reason, because you don't really have any idea what you're going up against. And even though you can make a diverse team, I don't know, it never really clicked with me. And I do have a friend who really likes Pokemon, so I'm sure all of you people who do like it, like Jeremy, could really explain like why this stuff works. But for me personally, it just never really clicked. And the humor is okay. It's just kind of strange sometimes, I guess. Like you'll defeat someone and they'll just be like, "Oh no, I lost my radish. Oh no." And it's like,
It's like, why is this person suddenly Canadian?
Right. But I don't know. And again, just because I choose a game, like I don't necessarily think it's bad, but for me, Pokemon just never really clicked. But I'm trying to give it another chance. And I don't know. I just feel like they get a lot of really high scores and a lot of praise, and they're not bad games. But I feel like maybe they should be a little more average. I don't know.
No, I keep it. You have my address.
Yeah. So if any of you people like Pokemon out there, feel free to educate me, because I want to get exactly what the combat system's about. Yeah. So educate me nicely, please.
I do like how you mentioned that you didn't really have a lot of reasons why, and then you expounded for quite a good while. I thought were pretty. You gave pretty good reasons. I'm defending you. I thought you gave really legit, reasons for why it didn't work for you personally.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, mostly it's just the battle system, and then I guess the humor. I really like the art style. I like their character designs. I think they're really cute the way they do it, and everything. Just, I don't know. Just never really clicked with me. So
Lizzie, what about you? Do you have an overrated game for today?
Yes, some people may get mad, but oh well, because I can tell based on my trips to Walmart and Target and all stuff. Animal Crossing.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I loved Animal Crossing, but it just seems to be becoming more overrated because Nintendo released all those little cards, which were useless. I remember at first people were buying them all and trying to sell them for like double the price on eBay, but then they realized, oh, nobody wants these suckers, and then all the different amiibos, and then they released that other game like the whole entire, what was it, it
was basically like Mario Party.
Yeah, they have that. You don't know what's it called? The one where you like make the houses look all pretty and you. Yeah. Yes, it's like they made all these other games for it, and yet they didn't sell that well. I mean, I don't understand what the big deal was to make this thing bigger than what it should have been. I mean, to me, it was just a game you play for like about an hour, and you put it down, and you move on, and then you play it again a little later. But it wasn't like a big deal to me. Actually, I love it, but it seemed like people overdid it, and Nintendo overdid it with adding all these things that later on they're still sitting on the shelf at Walmart. It's like no one's buying them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what was the point in them?
So Jeremy,
Actually, I
sorry,
saw
go
those.
ahead,
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Actually, I went when I was going into Best Buy today. Like all the Animal Crossing amiibos are super on sale. Like some of them were like $2. Yeah. So.
Yeah, nobody wants them because everyone's like, okay, these failed, so let's get rid of them because everybody wants the Breath of the Wind ones. Because I mean the Breath of the Wild. Because I've seen like the
Break of the
Legend of
Wind
Zelda.
ones.
I've seen the Zelda one. All of them at my Walmart are inside the glass shelves. They're not on the actual little pegs. No, they have them inside the shelves with the lock on them.
It's because Link is sexy. Did you see Reggie Fils actually was asked point blank, do you think that Link is hot? And he goes, hell yeah, Link is hot. So
He is hot.
I don't feel bad now, right? Head of Nintendo
so
America
androgynous.
says Zelda is hot. You know, now I don't feel so weird.
No, but let's see. I agree with that choice too. I did pick that up for my 3DS many years ago. Like people online kind of started playing it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll visit people's towns and have fun. And again, like same thing. It just didn't really click with me. I feel like it's one of those games, kind of like Minecraft, where if that's the gameplay style you like, if that's your thing, then I can see totally getting into it. But for me, not having any objectives or anything like that, really, it's just without an objective, it's kind of hard to have that motivation to have a goal for something to work towards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's the entire reason why I always focus more on the Sonic games, because you have a goal. You have to get to the end of the game to save the world, or the Mario game, save the princess. When the game has a goal, you're gonna stick with it longer. When it's just like, oh, it's just a pick up, play it for a little bit, put it down, come back later. You're not gonna play it too long.
So now, Jeremy, I saw you shaking your head and turning different colors and all that kind of stuff. I think I even saw some of the beard kind of like falling to the floor. Do you want to say anything in defense of Animal Crossing? Because I know you're a tiny fan of it.
Yeah, not really.
No,
that's their opinion.
About Chaos did mention ASOR was better. I'm not sure which titles those are in the series. Maybe the GameCube one.
Aerosmith, Oregon. I think he's talking about.
No, there's one called City Folk. CF. City Folk.
All right, he didn't mention that one. He didn't mention CF. He did say though. He did point out that Link does give Reggie his paycheck. So I guess. Wait a minute. Does that mean that Reggie is Link's bitch?
I didn't say it.
Folks, ponder that one.
That's your loss. That's your lawsuit right there.
Ponder that one. So now that I've kind of primed the pump for people to be pissed off at me, I'm going to go ahead and give my overrated game. And bam, there it is. Double Dragon, specifically Double Dragon 1 for the NES. I saw that recently they made a new Double Dragon 4 that's kind of in the spirit and graphic style of Double Dragon 1 through 3 on the NES. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, like, not a bad game. I'm going to say that. It's not a bad game. It's a decent game, but in terms of interpretations or ports of Double Dragon, there were certainly better. Namely, the Sega Master System version of Double Dragon. This was awesome. Not only did it have more colors than the NES version, not only did it have 2 players simultaneous, unlike the NES version, but it also had way closer graphics and level layouts to the arcade than the NES version. So if you're going for like arcade, accuracy and closeness, I got to give it, for the 8-bit systems at the time, I got to give it to the Sega Master System. So again, I don't hate on the series. I especially think WayForward's recent Double Dragon Neon for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 was absolutely awesome. I really wish that that there'd be a Double Dragon Neon 2. So hopefully the folks that now own the Double Dragon property are watching and listening and reading my 800 tweets that I put on their Twitter account going, please make Double Dragon Neon 2 happen. So, but in terms of the NES game, it's okay. It's a fine time burner, but, my son and I are not going to have, fun with this game at the same time. If my son and I want to play some Double Dragon, we're playing it on the Sega Master System, and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I feel like the Master System is kind of underrated in that sense that there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of good games on it, but it's just I don't know if it's hard to find them, hard to find the system, or what.
Yeah, they're definitely more rare than NES. But I do have to say, for as rare as they are, unless you're talking a game like Golden Axe Warrior or Phantasy Star, like one of those games, the vast majority of the games are still available pretty cheap. So case in point, I actually found I added 12 Sega Master System games complete in box, like new, to my collection that I found at a thrift store for 30 cents a piece.
Wow.
And they were sitting right next to like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy for the NES cart only, which they wanted $12 a piece for. So,
oh my gosh.
So clearly they were like looking online and checking eBay prices, and then it got the Master System and they're like, screw it, I've never seen this before, it must be some knockoff brand.
Yeah. Well, and that's one reason why I've been thinking about trying to collect for like non-Nintendo systems, because even I was thinking like Harry Potter Quidditch, because I started reading Harry Potter. I thought that might be fun. GameCube, like $8. On PlayStation 2 or like Xbox, it's $2. It's
nice.
No reason,
Yeah, I think the other game too that the other one that I recommended earlier, that Simpsons Hit and Run, I think you can still pick that up for between $10 to $20 depending on where you go, whether you get the platinum hits or the original. So I like those games that they still hold up today, and they don't need the nostalgia factor to kind of prop them up, but you can still get them without breaking the bank.
Yeah,
right.
It's always good to know.
So. All right, so folks, what do you think? What were your picks of the week? What's your most overrated of the week? So drop us a message in the comments down below after the show, and we'll follow up. Or maybe hit us up in the live chat. We're still going with that. And don't forget, I put it in my my tagline there. RRP FTW, Retro Reload Podcast for the win is what that stands for. And if you hashtag that in Twitter. We also watch that live feed there, so different ways that you can talk to us. Do you guys mind if I vent a little bit about share my initial impressions of the Nintendo Switch 1 week in?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
go ahead.
Vince
How's it
on,
going so
Chris.
far?
So I have to say, this mixed feelings, and here's why. I am convinced after a week with this, and I've only played Blaster Master Zero. I haven't yet actually fired up Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I've seen the other reviews for it already. I will be getting into it later this week. I won't be doing a live stream of it because even though we're part of the Nintendo Creators Program, they tend to do weird things when we stream their first-party content that we're allowed to stream. So I'm not boycotting or anything. I just don't feel like dealing with it. Yeah. So, but I can tell you, I have seen different reviews of it. I have seen side-by-side footage in high res. For me, I guess a big disappointment was that there's not really you really have to have them side by side in order to see the graphical differences between Breath of the Wild on the Switch versus on the Wii U. Draw distance is the same. Textures are mostly the same. They're a little bit clearer on the Switch, but only if you're playing it in TV mode. Even in TV mode, it's not 1080p, it's 900p, which, okay, some would say not a big deal. DashV, why are you nitpicking? I'm nitpicking because this thing is supposed to kick the Wii U's ass graphically. So why is it still not able to do a full 1080p 30 frames per second? The other thing too is it's kind of unacceptable that the frame dips, I see it on all the videos, go from like 20 to 30 frames kind of back and forth depending on the area that you're in. and it does the same thing on the Wii U. So both versions suffer from frame stutter. Why? Unless the situation changes when you play this in handheld mode. It ends up being 720p, which is the same resolution as the Wii U, but liquid smooth, 30 frames per second, sustained almost all the time. I was playing Blaster Master Zero the other day, doing part of my live stream. So if you guys missed my streaming that I did, episodes 1 and 2, you can still catch it recorded. I did some post work on it and everything. I'm working on the post work for the next segment. But one of the things that I'm going to mention here, because I'm editing it out of that segment, I had the sync issue. I had this controller would not sync for a good 5 minutes, and my docking cradle is right here. So this is this.
Was it the left or right one?
It was this one actually. It was the right one. So I don't know if that's the one that people are normally complaining about.
I've read left.
But this thing would not sync for a good 5 minutes. I actually had to, I have the whole recording of me like fiddling it with for 5 minutes, hitting buttons, powering the system back on, back off, trying to attach it back to the system, detach it. I'm only like 2 feet away. Why the hell? Why was it a problem? So I can understand if people are having issues. It doesn't seem like an issue that I should have had. And it was kind of annoying. Start up the system and you can't control it. So I already noticed too that the dock has smudged. I don't think it's going to show up on the camera in this light, but I don't think it is. Can you kind of see there?
I can see it.
So that doesn't look like, now guys, I have taken it out of and put it into the dock very carefully. You can't see that one, but it does show up when I'm not in the studio lights. And it's kind of annoying because it doesn't wipe off. I've even tried alcohol wipes. All I did was set it in the dock twice. That's it. And already it's marked up from the dock and I can't get the marks off. So if you get one of these, before you put it in the dock even a single time, put a screen protector on it. Granted, it's a vanity thing. I don't have it as bad as some other people. Some other people have actually reported scratches from the dock. Honestly, I'm thinking I'm not going to bother docking this anymore, or I'm going to modify the dock. The thing that sucks is that there is no HDMI built into the system itself, so you're not going to hook it into your television unless it's through the dock. Which brings me to my last bit, and this is the bit that I think is going to piss people off. And I'm not trying to, honestly. I'm not trying to, because gaming-wise, it's been fantastic. I've loved Blaster Master Zero. Anybody that thinks I hate this should go watch my video where I'm just totally geeking out over Blaster Master Zero and what a friggin' masterpiece it is. Can't wait to play Zelda, but here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to say. It's going to offend some people. I don't mean to. This is not a console. And I'm a little bit upset that Nintendo has positioned it as their console, but I think they kind of have to. I'm thinking about Nintendo for a while and what their position is. So their actual console was, their last console was the Wii U, and it pretty much did not meet their expectations, right? And they weren't able to get third-party support, etc., right? The longer they waited, just the worse things got. So they needed something to replace the Wii U badly. Also, with the uptick in mobile and, you know, that kind of thing, touchscreen gaming kind of taking high resolution, big screen, touchscreen gaming on these phones, the DS, as popular as it is now, it's still the 3DS still selling out in stores and stuff like that. It's not going to last forever, and I think Nintendo knows that. So I think Nintendo is in this weird situation where their currently popular portable isn't going to be able to maintain the momentum. But the thing that's bleeding them out more is the Wii U, which is leaving them without a compelling console offering to be an also ran with Microsoft and Sony. So pitch this as a console, but it's really not. Like, if you're having basic sync issues day one, if you haven't really, you haven't used it in the dock enough to know internally that you're causing damage to the console just by putting it in and taking it out of the dock. If the games, you're more concerned about the performance of the game on a portable system than you are on the television. and you didn't really care if it had enough horsepower to even go to 1080p when the other guys are already releasing incremental revisions to their consoles to hit 4K or 2.5K. Clearly, they didn't really care how this did as a console. And there's one final piece that I'll kind of mention. Let me see if I can. I'm going to try to put this back in the dock. I cringe every time I do it because I know I'm causing unseen damage. But I'm going to try to flip over here to my HDMI capture, and we'll see if we got we do. All right. So now I'm going to attempt to see. Okay. What I'm actually going to do, oops, that's not what I wanted. You can tell what I was just playing, right?
Dash.
What's that?
Make sure you log onto your screen.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Thank you. So, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the, let me hook it into the,
Tyler, he's on a show tonight, but he said he also has some smudges that he wiped off. Like he bought a screen protector, right?
Yeah.
He's having similar issues as Chris has.
So, yeah, in his case, they did wipe off. One of the things I'm going to go ahead and let me switch to my, I have to turn my picture-in-picture on because there's slight lag to when I stream. Yeah, I didn't break the show. Awesome.
Awesome.
But I might have, oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go into the Nintendo eShop. We'll see if this actually streams. I'm not sure. I haven't tried to stream the eShop yet. All right, so DashV is using the Nintendo eShop. All right, so this is something that I noticed the other day when I was looking to see what launched on Thursday, and it kind of disturbed me. Oh no, seriously?
Cut it out real quick. So
that ain't cool. All right, give me just 1 second. Give me just 1 second, folks.
Alligator.
Yeah, put in your password.
I know, right?
Password.
You still can see it, Dash.
What?
We can still see your screen.
You can still see my screen, but it's not. You don't see what I'm typing in because I'm not hooked into the HDMI.
Okay.
What if the passwords enter your password?
It's Blaster Master.
All
Damn
right.
it.
It probably is.
No, nothing like that. So now you know what it isn't. Darn. All right. So I noticed a couple cool things. One is that there's a free demo of a Splatoon, which is kind of neat. There's a bunch of Neo Geo games that got released. Somebody last week was saying that they wanted to hear us talking about Neo Geo. Well, here's what I got to say about it. As a console that you're going to try to collect on your own, buying the actual console, buying the actual games, dude, you got a better chance of getting a complete TurboGrafx 16 collection. And it'll cost you about the same. But Nintendo has released quite a few. They got Shock Troopers, which is right here. They've got Waku Waku. They've got World Heroes Perfect. They've got King of the Fighters 98, and they've got Nam 1975. And I think they also have one of the Metal Slugs. Yeah, Metal Slug 3. So not a bad showing for launch day. Interesting is I don't think these run through Virtual Console. I think these are actual ports. So they may still be emulated, but they're not emulated through Virtual Console technology. You were going to say?
I don't know if you know this, Chris, but if you make a second account and you set the country as Japan, you can access Japan's exclusives.
That is absolutely true. You can actually, since it's not region locked, you can import games from Japan as long as you set up a separate account. So that's kind of cool. Here's what I thought wasn't quite so cool though. Let's look at this one. How would you pronounce that? Voice? Voyez. But here, well, I was fine with that. Okay, prices, whatever. Let's go in and see. Here is what actually I thought was interesting, though. If we scroll down to the bottom, this game is played using touchscreen controls. This game cannot be played in TV mode.
Oh.
Guys,
Wow.
What console have you ever heard of that doesn't let you play the game on the TV? That's unheard of. And so this is starting to look a lot to me, and I mentioned this before that this was my concern. This is starting to look to me like it could become a PlayStation TV type situation, right? Where, you know, no one would question, right, that the Vita is a portable. Now, if you get a PlayStation TV, some of the games will work on the PlayStation TV, but not all of them. But that is understandable because PlayStation Vita games are portable games for a portable system. So if they're able to adapt them to the TV, cool, but you're not expecting it, right? When Nintendo says that the Switch is a console, but then you're going to have games that don't work in TV mode, that's not a console to me, right?
But that sounds like a 3DS thing. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so just backtracking very quickly, the PS TV thing, I'll actually say that I don't like that very much because to me, pretty much all the games should be compatible, and they've actually I think someone did a hack that you can do, so pretty much all the games are compatible, so there's not really any reason for that one. But I'm just saying that because I got one. I had the impression I could use it for that, and I couldn't, and I never did like it because of that. But going back to what you said, no, that really doesn't make sense. That, like, I could see if they're like, okay, this is going to upscale, but it's going to look really bad or something.
Right. Or you can't use the touchscreen controls. You have to use this control scheme. So maybe it supports both touchscreen and.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's the reason why is like if it needs touchscreen, you can't use the touchscreen when it's docked. But yeah, that could be. I could see that being a problem with then you have to check games and make sure that that they work while they're docked.
Yeah, you got it exactly. So that's not. I'm not trying to hate on Nintendo. I'm not trying to say that it's not that it's not within developers' rights to design and build the games the way that they want to design and build them. But exactly what you said, Kyle. Like when you tell me that this is your new console and you set up this expectation that it's a console and that I can take my games with me, or when I'm at home I can plug in and sit on the couch, and then you can do that except for make sure you check before you buy the game. Because it's not true of every game.
Imagine you can read that and you're like, what?
Yeah, because I mean, especially if you're a kid, not that kids are probably going to be on the shop, I guess, without maybe asking their parents if they can. But no one reads the fine print.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess some people might say, "Hey, DashV, it's only one game. Come on, why you crying wolf?" But like the fact that a single game can exist that has this caveat means that more can exist down the road, right? And so for me, I think the dangerous line that Nintendo is walking is I could see them not wanting to spook people that are still in love with the 3DS and still want to believe that has a long, long life ahead of it. I was talking to somebody at church this Sunday that was all excited that he's going to get a Nintendo 3DS for his birthday. Right, and he's all excited, and what game should he get, and all this other stuff. And I kept my mouth shut about what I thought was going to be the future of the platform. But I said a whole bunch of smack talk. Let me talk good stuff. If Nintendo was to call the Switch out for what it is, which is right now the biggest, best, most versatile portable system, I think that would be A-okay, right? Because it is an amazing portable system. It's the only portable system I know that you could take over to a friend's house and then take the controllers off and play 2-player games with. It's the only portable system I know that's got a screen that's that darn big, like a first-party portable system that's got a screen that darn big. It's not like an emulator box or whatever, right, that you get off of eBay as a knockoff or whatever. And the fact that it comes with a grip is amazing. The fact that you can play the games on the television, right? Some of the a bunch of the games, a majority of the games probably, is amazing. That it's got the built-in Wi-Fi that you can add in. It uses standard memory like SD. It's not like some crappy Sony proprietary thing, Vita. So I as a portable, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think people who are getting it expecting to take their games with them on the go or play their games curled up on the couch on the portable screen while maybe a significant other or whatever is using the TV, I think those people are going to be perfectly happy with it. But I think people buying it, expecting it, that it's going to be a console, clearly the quality control has not been really taking into account heavy duty console couch, right, usage. Clearly, there's dock issues that to me, again, just show quality control. Like if you're using it in that mode repeatedly, you would catch these things super early. You'd catch syncing issues. You'd catch docking station causing damage issues. You'd think about things like maybe instead of having the docking station be a clamshell so you can't at all use the touchscreen controls while it's plugged in, what would have been the harm of having it be able to have the screen be active and use the touchscreen while you're, I mean, basically what they've done is they've completely walled away and abandoned any dual screen gaming technology that they've ever done. So to me, Switch is less of a, oh look, it's a console, it's a portable, which is what they're selling it as. And to me, Switch is more of a metaphor for Nintendo saying, you know what, dual screen gaming has had its time and had its day. We're done with that. We're done with it in the portable space. We're done with it in the desktop, you know, the console space. And so now we're going to go back to single screen experience. And either it's the single screen experience as a portable or on your television. And, you know, when it's the portable, we're going to give you touch controls. When it's on the television, we're going to give you the tactile feedback again. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with them positioning that way, but it's one of those things that kind of, it doesn't hit you until you've spent some time with the console. Holy shit, it's not going to be possible for them to port over Wii U games in the way that they were on the Wii U. That's why you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because Mario Kart 8 as it exists on Wii U can't exist again on a future Nintendo console. That's why the Virtual Console, I think, is not immediately ready on the system, because they need to have a bit of a reset, because you already had a console now that could finally play a DS and potentially 3DS games. And people were getting a taste of that, and they were getting excited for what comes next. And now you're not going to be able to bring those to this new console. So you need to have a bit of a reset and let people adapt and reset and realign their expectations. But I guess I just feel like Nintendo's being like, they're not being forthcoming about it. It didn't occur to me that, oh, yeah, all the touchscreen features I forfeit when I set it in the dock. I mean, I guess it makes sense now that I have it, but I was just so used to the Wii U could do both, and it did both so well. I didn't really think that, you know, it didn't occur to me that there wouldn't be an HDMI port on the Switch itself. So if I take it to the friend's house, I have to take it with the dock. Otherwise, I can't hook it into their TV. Right? It didn't occur to me that I couldn't have the screen on there and have it also stream to my TV using a casting technology or something like that. You know, you kind of figure out all this stuff as you use it. And I guess what I'm saying is the more I use it, the more I realize, and I'm coming to terms with the fact that I bought a next-gen portable system. I did not buy a next-gen console, because as a console, it's barely top-of-the-line PS3 caliber from what we're seeing so far. So those are my first impressions. So not trying to tell anybody not to buy it, just know what you're buying. I think in Nintendo's mind, it's a portable first, and the other stuff is extra.
So is the Switch replacing the 3DS, is what you're saying, basically?
I think ultimately you're going to see the Switch replace the 3DS, yes. I think what Nintendo is doing is switching from having a portable system that's dual screen and a console that's dual screen to having back to one screen, right? It's either your portable or your television screen. And I think ultimately they're going to end up converging. Now, I'm not saying that 3DS is dead like this year or anything like that, because here's the deal. And this is why I think Nintendo's being careful to call this a console that can be portable and not a portable that can be sometimes a console. I think 3DS probably still has a good couple years left into it, just because it's still selling pretty darn well. But that said, 3DS as a platform is still pretty darn old, right? It's had a good run. It's had a good life. But you know, when you take and you look at the games that can be on the Switch now versus the game on the 3DS, I mean, the capabilities are night and day different. So I think what will probably end up happening is developers will probably start gravitating toward the Switch. And what might even be happening is I think some of those developers that are going to be easiest to carry over are going to be people that already have a working relationship with Nintendo. So in my mind, that's going to be people who are currently still actively developing for the 3DS. I think you're going to start seeing them develop for the Switch because the jump, because for them it's an upgrade, right? If you go from developing portable content on the 3DS to developing it on the Switch and you still consider it like portable, that's an upgrade. Versus the challenge that they had with the Wii U that they're still going to have with the Switch is if I'm developing for the Xbox One and for the PlayStation 4, plus their Pro and Scorpio editions, I got to downgrade that to put it on another console. Well, for another console, I think they've already told us with the Wii U, not worth it. That's too far of a gap that they want to jump. But for a portable, hell yeah, right? So that's kind of, I guess, where I'm thinking.
Oh, so kind of like when they were doing that stream they were doing when they were talking to all the people, like Sega was unsure because you were saying that Sega was like, yeah, we got some games coming, but they weren't specifically saying just for the Switch because they might be kind of scared because, you know, like the graphics that they've been teasing us with Project 2017 look really good, but I think that's going to be more for Xbox and PS4, something that can handle that many graphics.
Oh yeah, and I think the Switch will certainly be able to handle, for that game in particular, I think the Switch will definitely be able to hold its own and provide like a definitive portable port of that game on the Switch. And so, but I think it's just going to be one of those cases where, like, I think 3DS development is going to switch from a, you know, if you want to be on a Nintendo platform, that's the most popular one to be on, so that's the safest bet, to do we really have a reason to be on the Switch or on the 3DS, or could we get by with making this on the Switch, right? Like if because Nintendo's basically the only platform for which you actually have to make the game be a 2-screen experience. So it's extra development time, it's extra, you know, it's extra testing, extra hassle, and you're never going to be able to port that game. I mean, it's the reason why, right, Resident Evil Revelations came out originally for the 3DS, right? And then they ended up releasing it on the, I believe they released it on the Wii U, and they released it on PlayStation 3 and some of the other systems. The toolkit that they had to use was completely different. So when they released the game, when the game was very popular and they decided to release it on the other platforms, it looked horrible on the next-gen platforms. And some of the controls and stuff like that were lost in translation because the main strengths that it was playing to on the 3DS didn't exist on these other platforms, the dual screen, the 3D effect, and all that kind of stuff. So, but then when you look at what they did for Revelations 2, they skipped the 3DS entirely. They just went to the main consoles. So I think, you know, Nintendo was seeing the writing on the wall that, like, mobile's moving in and taking up a lot of the touchscreen casual gaming space, which the 3DS catered to very, very well. You're seeing developers say, screw it, right? It's too much of a jump in quality, and it's too kind of niche for us to really focus exclusive development effort on. They want to build in one set of tools and export to a variety of different build factors, right? Xbox, PlayStation, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that this was kind of their attempt to say, look, if you're cool with it still being primarily geared as a portable device, desktop-wise it might be a downgrade, but it's going to be the best damn portable experience that you can have. So now, on the upshot is you might actually get a Tomb Raider game, right? A legit Tomb Raider game on the Switch. I'm speculating here. You would never see that legit. I'm talking like the new Tomb Raider reboot. I'm not talking like Temple of Osiris and all this other stuff. I'm talking like the Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider Legend, and or not Tomb Raider Legend. Rise of the Tomb Raider and the original Tomb Raider. It would actually be worthwhile to have those because you've got real controls, right? And you've got some decent horsepower. You could play the game in 720p, and on the go on that screen, it would look amazing. So I want to be clear. I think the Switch is a good piece of kit, and I think that there is the potential to really make some good games. But I have a feeling that the focus is going to be predominantly in the utilizing it as a portable, and the fact that it can be a portable, not so much in the desktop console space, because it still can't compete. It's barely better than the Wii U in
Right.
console mode.
Okay. So obviously we have quite a few topics here that we can cover for that. So we actually started a conversation. I forget who it was, but on VGCollect.com, where you can discuss all these things with us. And we were talking about, this came up, is the Switch going to replace the 3DS? And people keep saying this. And if you do a Google search, there is an article that comes up where a direct quote from the president himself that said the Switch is not going to replace the 3DS. That they're still going to do something else with it. What it is that they're going to do, we don't really know, but that it's not replacing the 3DS. And I can see that, because you have to think their primary thing, if you're living in Tokyo, obviously the Switch is made to be portable. But at the same time, are you going to take a Switch on the subway, or are you going to take a 3DS clamshell where you have your screens, but you have it protected on the outside and you can bang it up? I think there is still, for that kind of demographic, and of course it works over here, I think there's still that market for having something that's actually more practically portable. Because even my Vita, like, I wouldn't always like taking that out, because it doesn't clamp like a 3DS. So the screen's not really protected except for the screen protector. And, if you drop it, it's going to land on the screen. Whereas the 3DS, it may hit a corner, but there's just so much to it. It feels pretty sturdy. So I think there is still going to be that there for it. Now, I'm trying to remember all these points so I can kind of address some of them. As for it not being a console, I mean, I see where you're coming from with it, but I think for now I have to disagree, because what we're seeing, as someone pointed out, when you have a console launch like this and you're having problems, really this, at least according to them, and I think they're probably right on this, it's not anything new to have console issues. Just like the 360 and the PS3 had all those ring of deaths, the orange lights, everything else happening with them. When you're just launching a console, especially nowadays, where you can just patch things with a patch really easily, for better or worse, these are just kind of the prime of problems we're going to have. And also considering it's Nintendo tends to set like the technical trends. They try the new things, and then the other guys try them. Now, that's not an excuse for overlooking build problems, as you said, with the dock. That, like I mentioned earlier, we're chatting, that's really ridiculous. That should be a pretty obvious thing, that when they test it and they slide it in and out and go, oh, well, what do you know? This is scratch. That should have been obvious. And they really do need to fix that, because obviously you don't want your console getting all banged up and the screen getting scratched. That's bullshit. Quite frankly, that's really bad oversight.
For a $300 console, it's absolutely bullshit.
Exactly. And now, of course, I'm not blaming the engineers or anything, because I have no idea what their approval process is, if it was rushed out or anything like that. But yeah, this kind of thing obviously needs to be fixed, probably in the next console release if they have it. And I agree, it should be 1080p, because I think that's what they said it's supposed to be. And if they said it's supposed to be that, it needs to be that. It needs to work at it. But I guess they had to have the dock in there, because otherwise, I mean, I agree, the HDMI port where it just plugs into your TV, that would have been ideal. But the problem is, if you do that, what's the difference between a Switch and a PSP? Because a PSP could do the same thing, right? So they kind of have to have that dock or something if they want to call it a home console. Otherwise, it's just like a PSP with a cable you can run right.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying that they didn't necessarily have to have the dock at all.
Right.
I guess I was just, I mean,
that it's not working like it needs to work to be called a console. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, they do need to fix those problems, obviously. But you do bring up a good question of what's really the difference between a console and the handheld. Where do we draw the line on that? For me, I'm just not ready to say it's not a console exactly yet. Just because, again, I think there are problems that they will get those fixed. We'll see. Hopefully they'll be in 1080p. Really, like me personally, I don't care a whole lot about the 4K stuff, but I agree.
Right.
It should be 1080p. That's pretty standard at this point. And I'm sorry, I was trying to think of some of the other points you brought up so we could address those too.
So I guess for me, the biggest, the first thing that made me think, maybe this isn't actually a console. Maybe it's all just marketing. Was seeing that game on that first game on the eShop that said that it would not play on your TV. I was like,
Right.
I have never had a console that didn't play on my TV. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of a console.
Right.
So
and
that really started me kind of thinking down the line of like, where is Nintendo? Nintendo allowed this, so where could Nintendo be going with this? And it is a bunch of speculation. So I mean,
Right.
I think your opinions and your counters are just as valid. You know, I think as mine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, none of us really know where they're going to go with this yet.
No, Reggie called me the other day and he told me.
We got the inside scoop.
He told me, you seen Link? Link is hot. Oh, by the way, the Switch is really a portable. Don't tell anybody.
But yeah, and that is a good point on the shop. They should put a very obvious, like some kind of marker on the thumbnail or something. I think that or in the description that clearly states as soon as like you go to the description whether or not it's going to be compatible in the TV mode or not. I agree. I would like to see it compatible in that, and as you said, that could be easily fixed by just having a little cord that connects to your TV and just outputs. That way you can use the screen. Will they make it that easy? Probably not.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I don't take issue with the fact that there's a game that's designed for the touchscreen, that's optimal experiences on the touchscreen,
right? Where
the developers say like, look, play this in handheld touchscreen mode. I wouldn't have a problem with that on the Vita. I don't have a problem with that on the Switch, except for that break in expectation. The fact that I'm expecting that all these games are going to have this dual mode, and some of them don't. So I would have expected Nintendo to say, well, hey, look, you're going to have to do something to... What I was expecting from the Switch, honestly, was you play the games on your TV, and they play at 1080p or close to 1080p, and they look and sound amazing, and graphics are, you know, all fancy and all this stuff. Now, when you go to take it with you, you might be seeing it at a lower resolution, right? You might not have all the nice features that you had, you know, in this mode, right? Like the shoulder buttons and all that other stuff. You're going to forfeit a bit of the controls, right? Because you're taking it with you. I wasn't expecting you plug it into your TV and like the Vita, now I have to go check the compatibility list or read the fine print to see, oh yeah, this game doesn't work on the TV.
Well, and I mean, they could always do something where they're like, hey, we have the controller with the touchpad you can use to play the touch games like the Vita did, but you have to buy it.
Right.
So, you know, again, it's just one of those who knows. I don't know. And like I said, I'm just not ready to say it's not a console, but those are problems that they need to fix for that. And as you said, the cross-compatibility thing with going between the TV and the handheld, that definitely needs to be addressed because I totally expected the same thing. I mean, obviously there's a touchscreen, put it in the dock, but that really never came up as a question of, oh, what if I have a touchscreen game? Yeah. And apparently that game, it said it was made for iOS and Android, so it just started out as a phone game and then they ported it over to that, I guess. So I guess that's kind of the reason for that. But that's a very good observation and a good question. And again, as for the 3DS or the Switch replacing the 3DS thing, I really don't think we're going to see that.
Nintendo, though, also, keep in mind that when the Super Nintendo came out, Nintendo was quoted in Nintendo Power as saying, this is not replacing the Nintendo Entertainment System. We're still evaluating where, you know, the resource split between Super Nintendo and Nintendo Entertainment System sits. And like a year later, it was end of life and you couldn't get any games for it. And, you know, and Nintendo all the way up until part of this year even was saying, you know, the Wii U is not being end of life, that kind of thing, etc. And then, you know, once pretty much the launch of the Switch was assured, okay, we stopped production. So I don't really trust that. Obviously, you want to avoid the Ted Turner effect, right? Where you say like, hey guys, the next batch of TVs are going to be in color, and then suddenly nobody buys a black and white set, right?
Yeah.
Because they're all waiting for the color TVs, and then you go out of business because you don't sell enough black and whites to produce the color set.
Right. Well, and one thing that I mentioned in the post when we were talking on the forums too was, oh my goodness, I just kind of forgot what I was talking about there. Shoot, what was it I was talking about in there? I was listening so much to your thing that I kind of forgot. Oh, I think I remember what it was. I don't know. I forgot. You can keep talking if you want to. Actually, I would like to hear from Jeremy.
That's
as
okay.
well,
Jeremy, why don't you chime in?
Thoughts.
Honestly, I need to play it with the system myself just to even have an opinion on the Switch.
I think that's a reasonable. Attitude to have. I would say anybody that's on the fence, right? Like, here's what I would say, right? In 2018, the Switch is going to be an amazing console with a great lineup. But right now, and to be fair, this was the same boat that Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were in, and to some degree are still kind of mired in. Most of the games available for the Switch right now are either re-releases, right? Neo Geo games coming back on the system, Breath of the Wild, which is also available on the Wii U, Blaster Master Zero, which is also available on the 3DS. So most of these, we have yet to have an actual, like, no shit exclusive that is like must have, right? Day one must have. Some people would argue Zelda, but I'd say, dude, if you have a Wii U already, if you don't have a Wii U, yes, get the Switch, get Zelda, be done. If you've already got a Wii U, get Zelda for the Wii U, enjoy it, right? And then just plan on Christmas time, get yourself a Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and a whole bunch of stuff, and have one hell of a Christmas and New Year. But for right now, I don't see the need to pay full price. Also, as Kyle was saying, I have no doubt Nintendo is going to be doing some tweaking and tuning, to the package. It might be just that they add little, felt liners or something like that to the inside of the dock so it doesn't scratch things up. It might just be that they, duct tape the antenna in a different location on the controllers. I'm not expecting a redesign of the console between now and Christmas, but I agree with Kyle that I think Nintendo, this is going to be their baby. This is their what I mean when I say 3DS and all that other stuff has kind of hit its time. This is Nintendo's long-term bet. That I really truly believe that this is them doubling down on the future of their company. And so, at least for the next 2 years, at least, unless this thing turns out to be a total flop, which I hope it won't be. Nintendo's gonna push hard for this thing to be successful. So they're gonna fix problems and glitches that have come up and everything. So if you buy it now and you hit some of the same issues that we've had, and you have the same drought of games that we have and all that stuff, you got nobody to blame but yourself. We all gave you fair warning. But if you don't care and you don't mind the fact that most of the games coming out for it are going to be available on other platforms, even other Nintendo platforms, if you don't mind the fact that the graphic difference isn't going to be all that great, if you don't mind the fact that there's still some rough edges, go ahead and get it now. But I don't see it being a must have right now. But in 2018, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Sonic Mania, I think in portable form, it's going to be definitive on this one. There's going to be plenty of stuff out for it next year.
Right. And if I actually remembered what I was going to mention now.
Go ahead, fire away.
Actually, we'll do two things. The first being that I was actually wondering if they do come out with either another version of the 3DS or this Game Boy line, whatever they're going to do with a separate kind of portable thing, if they're going to try to integrate some of the Switch peripherals into this portable system, like saying, oh, well, you can use the Joy-Cons. Those are going to be part of this system, and they like integrate the whole having to and sharing, but maybe making it a different system of some kind. But I don't know. Maybe that would be too much because then it's too much like the Switch.
So here's a mind blow, right? What if Nintendo killed both birds with one stone, right? What if you came up with a dock, right, that mounted here and here, right? Like imagine basically, here's what I'm thinking. So you got this, right? Imagine the space in between is still wide open, but there's a plate down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You slide the screen into it, right? Click it in place. You close it. There's your clamshell dock, right? You've got, and you could have the HDMI and all that other stuff, the network cable and all that in the base, right? So basically, you just have a flat base. It would also solve the problem that some people had of when you set it down on the stand, you can't charge it. But if you could kind of sit it into something that, okay, there's the controls on the side, right? Or you can even still have the controls be separate. But just saying, the fact that they've built the side so that you can mount stuff to it, I think gives them a lot of potential where you could just kind of slide this into something and then flip it closed, like a laptop.
Yeah.
So you could solve the charging problems. You could solve the screen scratching problems, like what you were talking about, Tyler or Kyle. I thought you made an excellent point. About this kind of out of box not being as portable. I hadn't really thought about that. That yeah, you're right, because I have the same problem with the Vita. I'm not going to slip this into my pocket and start walking through, the subway with it and that kind of stuff. It's going to get damaged and it's going to be uncomfortable as hell. But maybe if it had more of like a clamshell thing and then I could put it in a case.
Yeah, and another interesting thing on that, I think maybe I mentioned it before the show, but there's 2 videos I watched. One was Ben Heck, which he does a lot of disassembly, so you can see all the internals of stuff. And another one, I can't remember what the YouTube series was, but it was another one of like these game theory sort of things. So Ben Heck broke down the Switch, and one thing he noticed, I think it was the RAM. Was actually on a chip that is incredibly easy to take out and to replace. And he made a note that he thought we would see an upgraded version of the Switch very soon because he felt like they purposely made it very easy to upgrade. So it's very possible, even though this isn't something that Nintendo has done with home consoles, really, that we may see this kind of upgrade. And like you said, Chris, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe if this performs well enough, they're just going to say heck with the 3DS and focus on the Switch.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And I don't think it necessarily would be Nintendo abandoning the 3DS so much as if 3DS developers see the Switch as a superior portable platform, right? And if they put their muscle behind Switch and there's a drought of 3DS games, just like with Wii U, Nintendo can love their idea as much as they want, but if the third-party support's not there, what's going to happen?
Right. And then there was another source that goes into that, too, that was talking about how, I don't know if it was a patent or a copyright or what it was, but it was like a design document, and they were talking about the Joy-Cons, and they used some verbiage that kind of suggested VR tech, like using them for VR purposes. So they mentioned that it's very possible we could see where, again, you have your Switch screen, you haven't run those headsets, and you already have your Joy-Cons, right?
Right.
So this would actually be, and this would actually be a very, very affordable VR set that, as the mini games have shown, I mean, it's got all the tech and probably works just as well as the much higher priced VR sets. So that's
I could see that
too.
I could see that happening. Yeah, I could see that happening.
And like you said, 2018, and someone else mentioned that in the forums too. I think that's a pretty good year for seeing, how long the 3DS is going to go. We went from the original and we have the new one, which games like, again, Pokemon Sun do not work well on an old 3DS as far as like some loading and frame rate things can go. Like it works well enough, but there are noticeable issues. So yeah, maybe 2018 will be the year to look out for that and see if the Switch does well enough. Maybe they'll just say put a lot of resources into that. But then again, handhelds make up like I think half of all of Nintendo's console sales. So if they decide not to go with that and they mess up whatever their home console thing is, they could really put themselves underwater. So they're going to have to be really careful about all this and be attentive with the Switch, very attentive.
Absolutely. And I think what you just said, right? I mean, that's part of why I think their messaging right now is, oh, this is the console. Don't worry, 3DS still has a lot of life. Because if this thing ends up tanking just as hard as the Wii U, it'd be nice to have that cushion to fall back on and say, oh, that's okay, we'll try again. But versus if they come out now and say, this is it, this is the farm, right?
Because, I mean, when all the Wii U stuff was happening, if I remember right, there were articles that were like, it's a good thing they have the 3DS, because if they didn't, they would be going underwater.
Yeah, and I think that you're exactly right. I think that they do know that. So I want to make it clear. I'm not saying like, oh, 3DS next month, next. I'm not even saying this year. I'm not even saying next year. But I think long term, right? If we look at long term, something is going to have to replace the 3DS, right? We're not still playing Game Boys, right, of the original variety. So now the question is going to be, right, when it comes time to retire the 3DS line, or if developers start moving away, because now the 3DS is literally the only platform that's dual screen, right? If they decide to, developers decide to move away, Nintendo's going to have to do something, and they're really going to have to think long and hard. Are we still in a position where we need a portable as well as a console/portable? And I don't think, I think that thinking has already been done, and I think the answer's already been, let's try to go for both. If we're successful when we go to retire 3DS, we already have our successor to it. And I think the other thing too is, if you look at Nintendo's strategy since Wii, their strategy has been not to beat Microsoft, not to beat Sony, but to be in the same household as Nintendo and Sony always. And I think a really great way to do that now is in the portable space. They have basically no competition whatsoever right now.
Yeah.
The only competition they have is mobile, and some people would say mobile versus, but I'm going to say this. I have no expectation whatsoever when I play a game on here that it's going to be anything like if I play a game on here or if I play a game on here, right? I mean, anybody that thinks that this actually does compete with this within the same demographic, I think doesn't really understand what mobile gaming is and what you lose by going from this to this. I don't have any tactile feedback. That means games like platformers, Mega Man, any games that require like actual skill or precision, incredibly friggin' difficult. Incredibly difficult. At the same time, casual games on stuff like this, things that require like point and click, that kind of stuff, yeah, they can work, but you can only get so far into them, and then you hit the wall of the inputs aren't fast enough, right? Unless it's got a touch screen itself. The inputs aren't fast enough to keep up with what's going on. So I think that there are games that are appropriate for this, and that this will cater well to. A lot of the people gaming on this aren't what they would consider themselves to be gamers. Do you think Alec Baldwin playing Words with Friends on the airplane while they're frantically asking him to please shut the damn thing down so they can take off, do you think he considers himself a gamer? I don't. Maybe he does, but I don't see that being the same as somebody that's playing NBA Jam or somebody that's playing, Mirror's Edge or things like this. These are games that tried to come out with equivalents on the iPhone, and by and large, they didn't really do. They didn't do as well as their console counterparts because it's hard as hell to control them on here, even if you radically alter the game for the form factor. So I don't think this is going to kill this. Unless the only games people want to make are games for this. It is true a lot more people own phones, right? And I'm going to take my phone with me all the time. I'm not necessarily going to take this with me all the time. But that doesn't mean that I want a game on this. And I think Nintendo does understand that. That's why we have this. And I think it is neat now that they give us a portable option that when we take it to our friend's house and they say, hey, cool, NBA Jam, can I play that with you? Oh, sure. And just like Twix, you just break them off a piece, right? And then you hand it on over, and then you're playing NBA Jam. So,
Yeah.
I think there's still life left in mobile, I guess, gaming. And I don't think that mobile phones are that future.
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, I think Super Mario Run failed. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious that game failed.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how. I think Nintendo was still able to print some money with it. For me as a gamer, yeah, I would say it's not a game I'm interested in. I think, Jeremy, you said too, right? It wasn't a game you were interested in.
I'm gonna pay $10 for it.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, make it 99 cents. I'll buy it. Right, $10. No, you know what I will buy for $10 though? Blaster Master Zero. So.
Yes.
I mean, that's and so yeah, if I had $10, I'd spend it on Blaster Master Zero for the 3DS before I'd spend it on Mario Run for the phone. And I'm not saying that I'm a majority of people, right? but we could have an open debate over whether or not I'm a majority of gamers. And I'm not trying to say, look, if this is fun for you, have fun with it. If you like Pokemon Go, if you like Mario Run, that's
Sonic
fine.
Dash is awesome on there.
That's totally fine. Absolutely fine. But I like games like Blaster Master Zero, Mega Man, right? Real Mario, not Mario Run. And I just haven't seen those games on the phone done in any kind of justice. It usually seems like a good idea, and then you try to play it for 5 minutes, and you're just frustrated, and you quit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I will be that guy, and I'll say that even if you play games on your phone, I would still consider that being a gamer, just because a game is a game is a game.
Yeah.
Now, you might be playing different games that have a different target audience and stuff, but just I guess being technically there. But yeah, and I agree for the same reason. Like, sure, you can use the Bluetooth controller and attach it to your phone, but how many people are gonna just carry that around with them so they can play a blockbuster game on the phone? Which, and again, it's like name a game that emphasize like Pokemon Go. It's not really there. With handhelds, of course, we have there's Pokemon and all these other Nintendo games and everything else, right? So I mean, there are definitely differences for sure. Yeah,
and it depends largely on the phone, right? Like on iPhone, I've got a handful of controllers that only work with like maybe I've got about 20 games on here. Three of them support my Bluetooth controller. The other ones can't because of Apple restrictions. So Apple's locked down the platform so tight. I guess what I meant was, for the types of games I want to play, I'm not going to find them on the phone. And even if I do happen to find them on the phone, I'm not going to enjoy them because of the limitations of the form factor. If other people like the games on the phone with their limitations, that's totally fine. But those same people probably aren't going to like a console. Right? Because if what you like about the game is it's simple, you can play it on the bus, etc. By definition, right, you can't take your Xbox One with you on the bus. Right?
That's true.
So you're going to have a different gaming experience. So I agree with you 100%, Kyle. A gamer is a gamer, but I think consoles, hardware is usually built with a particular audience in mind. And I think anybody that thinks that you can just capture anybody that builds games thinking a gamer is a gamer really needs to think about, no, there are degrees of gamers, classifications of gamers, demographics of gamers, and which ones am I really trying to reach out to? No one platform is going to hit all of them. And so I think there's plenty of room for a variety of different approaches in the market. I feel like Sony and Nintendo took a look at mobile and said, oh, that's the future of portable gaming. That's where all portable gaming is ultimately going to go. And, Microsoft never tried. Sony just plain gave up. I think Nintendo looked at it and was smart enough to realize there's an untapped market there still. There's people that want to be, the 3DS, the Switch, the Vita type gamers. And we're going to cater to that market, and we're going to do a better job than anybody else. We're gonna make portable gaming great again. I think that was Nintendo's idea. So I'll leave you guys with that thought. We've gone over time. This has been Retro Reload. I let it persist a bit because I love, Kyle, great counterpoints that you brought up, man. I appreciate the heck out of it. What do you guys think, though? Right? We didn't see you guys talking much in the Twitter and in the chat this week. So if you're catching us up on the flippity flip after we're done being live, drop us some messages in the comments. You think I'm way off base? How many years do you think 3DS has left into it? Do you think the Switch is going to help it, going to hurt it? So, and have you, what have been your experiences with Switch? Good, bad, or indifferent, right? Are your controllers working great? Do you have no scratches on the screen? Do you think I'm just an idiot that doesn't know how to dock my system? That's all fair game, my friends. Comments down in the doodly-doo. So, any final words from anybody else before we close out the show?
Oh, no, I'm pretty much good. I'm glad I didn't buy it opening day, so now that I hear all this bad stuff, I can say, ha-ha, I'm going to wait.
I got to say, folks, stay tuned for the rest of my Blaster Master Zero stuff. I am having one hell of a time with Blaster Master Zero. Inti did a fantastic job. So, I'm having fun with the Switch. I'm just still kind of wondering what it is and, you know, what the future holds for it. So, all right. We will catch you next week.